The people in Russia, I mean, they're not stupid. They have social networks. They have technology. How do they buy into all of this when they can see their country not going to where it should go?
Well, a lot of them don't buy into it. I mean, if you were to survey, people between the ages of 18 and 30, like, I don't know, 4 years ago, before all this really nasty stuff started, I think a majority of them wanted to emigrate to the West. I mean, it's obvious. There's no mystery about it. But anyone who's in Russia, is chanting, long live Putin, because you're not allowed to say anything other than that.
And they're scared, and there won't be a revolt because he's got the security locked down.
Locked down completely. He's probably figured out how to read people's faces for disloyalty, and even if it's even if it's his face disloyalty machine. I'm just making this up, but even if it was wrong 20% of the time, he'll just kill everybody, and just in case anyone's that 20% was so what if 20% were loyal?
I read a couple years ago they were installing the face recognition cameras in the Moscow subway system to make it easier to do the fares, and it was just fascinating to realize that it was also a great way to spy on people. And
of course, everything they do is spying on people.
Are they as good as the Chinese are at that?
No, they're bad at everything.
Right.
I mean, they
but they still do it or try to do it.
Yeah. Well, they do it for different reasons. So they're spying. Yes. I mean, they have all this information. How they process it is, you've got a bunch of C students from D universities with no motivation that are, reading all the feeds coming in, trying to figure out what to do with it. So they're not very good at that stuff. They have it all.
Okay.
Chinese are much better.
All right. I want to finish with Putin, then I want to get into the book and then a little bit more of the Magnitsky, because it's important to maybe talk about what you did and the effect it's had and the effect it will probably continue to have in the future. How does this end game play out? Like, if you really had to think about it and think 10 years ahead, I mean, what's the most likely scenario that happens here with Putin, with Russia? If you look 10 years ahead, maybe 30 years ahead, maybe 50 years ahead, what do you actually think is going to happen?
Well, I think that this war is not going to end anytime soon.
So a year, 2 year, 5 years.
This could be like the Iran-Iraq war, could go on for 8 years. You could have 1 million dead on both sides. That's the kind of war that we're looking at right now. How does it end? It ends either with Ukraine winning or Russia winning, or some stalemate where eventually everybody just completely runs out of steam to do this, which is going to be a long time in the future, maybe after Putin is gone.
Are nuclear weapons going to be used?
Probably.
It's not just a veiled threat.
I don't think so. Putin will do anything. I mean, he does such outrageous stuff. He just does all the time, and he's thinking, okay, he's going to go and lob a nuclear bomb over some part of Ukraine, and he's thinking, what are we going to do?
I know.
Are we going to no, we're not going to enter into a nuclear war with Russia over that. That's what he's thinking, and we probably won't even attack. I mean, because we don't want to be at war with Russia.
Yeah.
So he's thinking maybe then he'll demoralize the Ukrainians into surrendering because he kills 1 million or 2 million Ukrainians.
Is that the scenario of what might happen?
Easily it could happen.
So he puts a low, medium level nuke in there. It kills that many people, makes it radioactive for the next few hundred years.
And then he says, look, America did it in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Why are you getting so mad at me?
And then the whole world is outraged and then do nothing.
Yeah, that's his...
Right, just like the world's been outraged before and done nothing when atrocities happened all around the world.
Yep.
Rwanda,
yep.
You could even say Nazi Germany, people knew. You
Yep.
could say these atomic bombs.
Yep.
You could say even now. So
Yep.
everyone's outraged, but then no one's going to do anything because
Yeah.
the U.S. is not going to go in and start a war, and I don't think any European nations are, and it's really tragic. It's hard to watch, isn't it?
It's horrible.
It's horrible to watch, and it's so close. I do a little bit of breakdancing, and I know a breakdancer, and he's in Ukraine, and his Instagram every day is giving updates, and he's like, it's Monday morning, and this is when we get bombed by the Russians, and I know you don't care because you're sick of hearing this. And this is something that happens every day. And a year ago, he was just a guy that was dancing in his country and known around the world. And now he posts these messages, and it's literally happening across the border from Poland in the EU, right here, while we all go about our business. And these drones are coming over and dropping these things that look inhuman to kill people. And we've got a potential nuclear missile going in, and it's plausible. You know,
I mean, it's more than plausible. It's likely.
It's likely. I know, and that's something I probably agree with you. The fact that this is happening in 2022 is, it's It's hard to believe.
Yeah, and this one guy.
It's one guy. It's one guy. So how does this play out? He dies of old age. This war continues.
Well, so if the Ukrainians can continue the trajectory, and they're doing a pretty good job on the battlefield. I mean, they're highly motivated. They understand that if they don't win, then they get tortured, imprisoned, their women are raped, their children are stolen, their communities are destroyed. And so they have for them, I mean, that's a real motivation to fight in a battle. Yeah. So they're really motivated to fight. And we're giving them a lot of tools to fight. We're giving them a lot. But we're giving them just enough to hold the Russians back. But we're not giving them enough to succeed. And we could actually end this war ourselves.
We's the West, America?
Basically the United States. The United States is the key.
They're giving them arms, but not enough.
And they would admit it. If you go to speak to someone in Washington and the high level in the U.S. government, they'll tell you that. They'll say, we don't want to, they're kind of afraid of what happens if Putin loses.
Because that would upset him and he might come after us, or if he loses, they're afraid of what's going to happen. Why?
They just think, it's probably better just to leave this at a low level, not to poke the bear. Like always, this has always been the appeasement strategy of Russia. Everyone's afraid of this guy, and he's done a great job of, he creates, 90% of his power is because we acknowledge him as being powerful.
Okay. If we get rid of Putin, does it get worse?
Well, how does it get worse I don't know. You have a guy threatening nuclear war. How could it possibly be worse? This is a big myth that Putin has created.
Okay. So you don't think it gets worse?
This is as bad as it gets. I mean, it could get much worse because he's going to make it much worse, but it's not like another guy is going to be worse than Putin. He's a monster.
But the U.S. won't arm the people to win. You're saying they won't? At
the moment, they won't. But what's interesting about the U.S. approach to this is like every time the Russia does something more atrocious, we give them better arms. I mean, we could have just given them better arms from the start.
Right.
And we could give them the better arms they need right now before, yes, we would probably give them the long-range missiles they've been begging for after the first nuclear attack, but they should get the long-range missiles now to maybe avoid the first nuclear attack.
Right. I can't believe that we're actually talking about a potential nuclear attack that's going to go into the environment and leave whatever.
Yeah, we're all going to have to take iodine here, and we're all going to be watching and just with our jaws at the floor when 500,000 Ukrainian people have been decimated by a nuclear weapon that Putin launches.
Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.